Good morning, or maybe it's afternoon. Perhaps it's evening, whatever time of day it is. Hello and welcome to virtual math class. Today we are going to be talking about reflections and graphing the image. So our objectives for the day is that students will be able to, 1, graph the reflection, and 2, find the new coordinates after the reflection has occurred. So just as a short little review, what is a reflection? If you said that a reflection is a flip, you are correct. It flips over a line. Okay, so on this one, it tells us to graph the image P, that's at 7, -3, after reflection over the y-axis. So right here we have point P, and P is at 7, -3. So now I'm reflecting over the y-axis, and the y-axis is highlighted in blue right there for us. So if we are 7 away from the y-axis on the right side, how far do you think I need to be from the y-axis whenever I flip over that line? 7, correct. So if I'm 7 on this side, I need to go 7 on this side. And so now ask yourself, is my x value going to change, or is my y value going to change, or are they going to stay the same? What's going to happen? So whenever I flip over, I'm at the same location on my y-axis because it's like I'm folding it in half or flipping it over. So my new point is right here at P prime, and that point is -7, -3. So now ask yourself, how is the point that I started and the point that I ended related to one another? Okay, so here we are again. It says to graph the image S, which is at 7, -1, after reflection over the line x equals 3, and they have x equals 3 highlighted for us. So on this one, right now, S is at 7, -1, and we are reflecting over x equals 3. So right now we are 1, 2, 3, 4 away from the line that we're reflecting over. So that means I need to go over 4 the other way. So count over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would be my new point. So my new point is S prime, and the location of that is at -1, -1. So what relationship, if any, exists here between the point that we started and the point that we ended? Is there a specific relationship? Okay, so now we're getting a little bit tricky. So it says to graph the image V, which is at 1, -3, after a reflection over the line y equals x. So the point B is at 1, -3. So if I am at 1, -3, and I'm reflecting over the line y equals x, so if y equals x, what are my new coordinates going to be? If you said that you're going to switch them, you might be correct. So if you said -3, 1, because if our y needs to equal x, that means that we're going to flip our coordinates. So we go to -3 on our x-axis, and then we go up to 1 on our y-axis, and that is point V prime. And I'm going to label that point as -3, 1. So on this one, what relationship exists between the points where we started and where we ended? Okay, so we're going to get a little harder. So it says that rectangle RSTU after a reflection over the line y equals x. So I'm going to start by labeling my points. So I have R, S, T, and U. R is at the point 2, -7. S is at the point 10, -7. T is at the point 10, -5, and U is at the point 2, -5. So now that I have all my points, now I need to find the point of R prime, S prime, T prime, and U prime, which would be after they reflect over. So if it is being reflected over the line y equals x, so if my y now equals x, what's going to happen to my x and my y coordinates? If you said they're going to flip, you are correct. So my 2, -7 now becomes -7, 2. 10, -7 becomes -7, 10. And then we have -5, 10. And then lastly, we have -5, 2. So now I need to graph each of these points. So I go to -7, 2, and that's going to be my R prime. I go to -7, 10, and that's going to be S prime. I go to -5, 10, and that is T prime. And then lastly, I go to -5, 2, and that is my U prime. Now I connect them together, and then I have my reflection. So now one important thing to note on this one is that whenever you graph it in IXL, you need to graph them in the same order. So for example, it's rectangle RSTU. So you need to graph it R, then S, and then T, and then U. Otherwise, it might not connect properly. Okay, so we're going to keep getting harder. So on this one, we have parallelogram, TUVW, after reflection over the line y equals -x. So I'm going to start by graphing by listing my points. So I have TUVW, because remember, we have to list them in the correct order. So T is at the point -2, 6. U is at the point 4, 6. V is at the point 6, 9. And W is at the point 0, 9. So now I have all my points listed. So now I need to come over here and write what they will be after my reflection. So I have T prime, U prime, V prime, W prime. So now whenever I have y equals x, we simply flip the order, but we have y equals -x. So first you flip the order, I guess, but then you're going to take the opposite of each of our points. So if it's positive, it's going to become negative. If it's negative, it's going to become positive. So whenever I flip it, I'm going to become -6, +2, because I'm taking the opposite. U then becomes -6, -4. V becomes -9, -6, -6. And lastly, W then becomes -9, 0. So now I need to graph each of these points. So I go to -6, 2, -6, -4. And this point was T prime. This was U prime. I then go to -9 down to -6, and that is V prime. And then for W, I am at -9, 0. I then connect my points, and I'm sure it's going to look awesome, just like the picture should. So there is my reflection. And just one more reminder that you need to graph in the same order as what it's listed at the top. So I did TUVW, and that's what you'll need to do on IXL as well. Okay, so now who is ready for our cheat sheet? I know I am, because some of that can get a little overwhelming. So if we have a reflection over the x-axis, we have our points x, y. So if it's over the x-axis, that becomes our x coordinate stays the same, and then our y changes to -y. Or if it was already negative, it would be positive y. So we're flipping the sign. So over the y-axis, it's the opposite. So if we had xy, then we would have -x, y. Over the line, y equals x. We already did this and we talked about it, but those, we flipped the order. So instead of xy, we would have yx. So over the line, y equals -x, our xy then becomes, we flip the order, but they also become the opposite signs. And then lastly, through the origin, and we didn't have an example like this, but through the origin, our xy becomes -x, -y. So pretty simple. So I hope that all of this helps. Write this down if you need to. Take a screenshot of it. Refer back to it as you're doing your IXL. It will be helpful.